Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Luke and I talk about all things property, investing and renovations. In today's video, we're going to look at 9 mistakes that you can make as a first home buyer and how you can potentially avoid them. And stick around to the end of this video where I share Emily and my experience of buying our first home and how we thought we made the most of it. So, what are some of the mistakes that you can make as a first home buyer? Number 1 is thinking that you need a massive deposit to get into the market. Now, plenty of young people and people in general just trying to get into their first home think they need a 20% deposit or even more for safety reasons and to get a loan with the bank. But in reality, you can get into a home with a much smaller deposit. The government recently announced 2% deposits for single parents, and there's plenty of first home owner grants and first home owner saver schemes where you can save money and build a deposit quickly. Now, at a minimum, you should look to get 10% for a home deposit, but that is a big difference between 10 and 20%. For example, on a $500,000 property, that's $50,000 you need to save to reach that 20% deposit over and above the initial $50K that you'd saved. So maybe think about using lender's mortgage insurance to jump into the property market because it can be harder to save money as fast as the property market increases in value. The next big mistake is jumping between jobs and not having a steady income. It's really important to be stable and to show the banks that you have a steady income coming in that's consistent. And that might mean that you have a career path that you've stuck to, whether that's nursing or being an accountant or being a professional basketball player. Whatever it is, it's showing a history of your job and that you've been in there for a few years and you've done consistent work, even if you jump between industries. Consistent full-time work will really help you getting a loan for your first property. Now, number 3 is not getting a pre-approval in place to know exactly how much you can spend on your first property. Some people get wide-eyed and excited about buying their first home, but you need to go to the bank first and work out exactly how much you can borrow with the money you've saved so far and the money that you earn to service the debt. So go and get that pre-approval in place and work out how much you can actually afford. Speaking of affordability, it's once you've worked out that pre-approval, not going to areas that are out of your budget and wasting your time. It's pretty easy to go look at fancy properties, and Emily and I have a habit of this. We love going and seeing homes that were probably far too expensive for our budget. It's much more important to go and spend your time valuably and go and see properties that you can afford. So don't go to the Hamiltons and the Paddingtons if you can't afford it. Look in areas that suit your budget. Now, number 5, it's important to take your emotions out of the equation. I know this is a big property purchase and your heart's going to be in it, especially when you're buying your first home. So as a first home owner and when you're looking to buy your first home, it's important to remove your emotions from the negotiations and when you're actually assessing the property. If you're willing to, with your first home, buy a renovator, you might need to look past the carpet and the bad walls with nicotine stains on them and the shoddy floors and see the potential in a property as it might get you in a better location. Take your emotions out of the situation and look at the deal from an outside view and how you can make money or enjoy the place you're going to live for the long term. Whatever you value most about the property, whether it's the location or the nice fixtures and fittings, it's important to look at the deal from the numbers perspective as well. Now, number 6 is not getting a building and pest inspection. Unless you're a builder or you've a serious investor who owns a lot of properties and can inspect the properties yourself diligently, I would highly recommend that you get a building and pest inspector. These guys know houses and they know what to look for in terms of pests and damage to the property and wood rot. They're going to give you eyes on the ground and spot things that you might not be able to see that could be deal breakers. So go out there and pay a licensed professional to give you their opinion on the property. And you can even use their reports and information to negotiate price reductions when you're buying a home. Now, let's say you are a first home buyer and you've secured a property under contract. A big mistake that you can make is not getting the proper insurance in place once you've got that property under contract. Now, this video is not financial advice, but it's important to ensure that you have insurances in place that are going to cover you from the property as soon as you have it under contract. As if the house was to catch on fire or be blown away by a natural disaster, it's important to know that you're covered and that you wouldn't come into financial stress if there was damage to occur to the property. So make sure you get proper insurances in place. Now, number 8 is ensuring that you have enough room in your budget for costs that are outside of your bank loan. These can include stamp duty, bank fees, solicitor's fees, real estate agent fees, body corporate, and any kind of maintenance. Now, all of these fees won't be factored into the loan with your bank, so you're going to need this over and above your initial deposit. So using an example, for a $500,000 property, if you had a 10% deposit, that would mean you had $50,000, but you'd also need to factor in the stamp duty, the legal fees, and your agent fees, and any other fees that weren't included in the loan, and that could add up to potentially $30,000 in the deal. So make sure you run the numbers with those fees on top of your bank loan. Finally, number 9, it's ensuring that you are covered in the contract and you have a solicitor review your contract before you submit and sign on the dotted line. It's important to understand if there are easements on the property, if you're going to have any issues with neighbors and development applications down the track, if your property is flood prone. So get your searches done with your solicitor and also get them to review the contract in full before you sign. This will give you assurance that you've done everything you can to do your due diligence and will give you sleep at night factor once you sign the contract to buy your very first home. Now, if you've stuck around this far to the end of the video, Emily and I had a great experience buying our first home. We saved hard and we were able to buy a home. But to get further ahead in our property investing journey, we did something that is called house hacking. And that is where you share your first home with some roommates to reduce your expenses and to potentially build equity in your property faster. We had a great time doing it, but it was for a short season, and we know that not everyone can do this strategy. But it's important to keep an open mind, and it might be a way to get into property faster and to accelerate your wealth journey, so keep that in mind. If you could drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, that would be really appreciated. Leave a comment down below if you have any first home buyer questions or concerns or horror stories. I'd love to hear from you, or just have a chat in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.